Good day, everyone out there in the AV world. Welcome again to another episode of Behind the Panel. I know you guys have been clamoring for another episode since the last one aired. Viewer feedback has been incredible on the series. So today we're stepping it up a notch, bringing in an expert, bringing in one of my favorite coworkers, Mr. Eric Olson, who is business development manager, but also is our sales engineer here internally at ExertisAlmo for LG Direct ULED. Eric, thank you for joining. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Patrick, for having me on. I'm looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah, it's a little different. We're very informal here. Really look to kind of target people that may be newer to the industry, might not know enough about it. So love to bring in experts like yourself to kind of chat and talk. Makes me look a lot smarter to people, even though the beard really, people think professor when they see the beard. It really doesn't all match upstairs. So bringing someone like you on gives me instant credibility with the viewing audience.
Thank you.
Again, thanks for your time. Want to talk about LG Direct ULED. I mean, it's Direct ULED. I mean, if you've not been around the AV industry in the last 10 to 12 years, you obviously are not paying attention, but it's everywhere. It is the 800-pound gorilla on the street, so to speak, of terms of products that are being put in there. Give us some highlights about LG. What is LG? What differentiates LG Direct ULED from a lot of your competitors?
Well, LG being one of the powerhouse display manufacturers in our industry, they, of course, have a fantastic lineup of DVLED. And as you'd mentioned, DVLED's been around for a while, but now everybody is in the race because it's replacing, this technology is now becoming easier to not only design, but also deploy, as well as the cost has come down. So now it's a really big contender to replace typical LCD video wall type panel installations, as well as even projection. So we're seeing some really nice things from LG. Everybody's now in the race to zero towards the pixel pitch. So LG has fantastic products in the indoor-outdoor category. They even have translucent models that is a flexible silicon-based film, which is kind of cool. And then coming out soon, I believe in 2025, will be their 0.5 pixel pitch. So it's like incredibly small and incredible detail.
Thank you for taking me there. I was just going to ask you what their pixel pitch offering is now, because everyone wants the smallest, right? That gives you obviously the best resolution, but it's obviously the price is priciest. So where does LG fall in now? Let's say with their indoor offerings.
Well, their indoor offerings, you can go anywhere from, typical is anywhere from about 3.5 millimeter down to 0.7, the 0.5 being coming out soon. But I'll tell you, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. It's all about price point. And of course, too, it has to really do with the application. When people want DVLED, you want to be able to give them what they want. But at the same time, you have to come up with a realistic expectation. So what we help do and figure out on the sales engineering side and the design side is when a customer says we have X space that has this length and this width, they want to really give them something to think about when it comes to what's the optimal viewing distance and what's the application. Is it a training room? Is it for digital signage? There's a host of different applications for it. So each product is better suited, of course, and then, of course, ultimately, the budget dictates what they're able to actually finalize when it comes to the design and engineering and, of course, purchase of the product.
Gotcha. Quick follow-up on that. What are some advantages that, let's say, LG has over a lot of the competitors? So for me, people have, I've introduced myself before, but I'm the business development manager here for all of the Legrand brands. So really what we are is we are kind of the milk that stirs the cereal. We have your connectivity, we have your mounts, we have your projection screens. We have everything to make the solution work. We just don't have the panel or the projector. So that's why I try and make friends with Eric and the likes of other business development managers that work with some of our panel and direct ULED manufacturers. So what are some competitive advantages that LG has in this arena?
So LG has not only come up with simplified designs for like all-in-one packages, which is probably our #1 selling type product. So this is something that is a single SKU. So usually when you're putting together DVLED, it consists of cabinets and modules and data cabling and power cables, along with trim kits and even mounts. And this can get kind of cumbersome. It also involves field installation, where you're actually having the manufacturer's representative or engineer oversee the project to make sure that there is a successful outcome. So instead of having those individual line items and components put onto a purchase order from the customer, you're going to be able to now put a single SKU towards a PO and get a complete kit. And it's been one of the most popular ones. And they come right now in 136 inch, 163 inch, and even 171 inch for the 21 by 9 applications for like Teams rooms and other soft codec collaboration type platforms. So they've also come out with their flagship products, what I would call is their Magnet, and that's their ultra fine micro LED fine pixel pitch products. That was the one that I was kind of alluding to earlier, that they're going to be coming out with a more finer 0.5 millimeter pixel pitch. That one really separates themselves from the rest of the products out there. It has such tremendous color depth and black, and it's really like a chip on board type with the overlay of the polymers that make it seem like a seamless application where there's no spacing between modules and everything looks really clean and neat. And the blacks look really rich and the color depth is there as well. So it's like really, it's something that, and in terms of installation, they're a lot easier to pull off as well.
And obviously with the much smaller pixel pitch, you're looking at obviously applications that are going to want full motion video, and a lot more rendered images as opposed to just, it's not a scoreboard in a high school gymnasium, basically is the best way to put it.
That's that's accurate. When you're looking at the finer pixel pitch type products, you're looking at somebody who wants a resolution that's either very close to 4K, or even sometimes some of the newer technologies are now going to offer the ability to do 8K even. So that's a big advantage. Another one I would say about LG being an advantage would be, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with this, but the Trade Agreement Act, which is TAA, compliance. Now, we all know there's probably close to a dozen different or more direct view LED manufacturers. Very few of them are able to offer TAA compliant. And this falls into the category of being able to pull off government applications. As you know, federal government and even including certain states require TAA compliance for all electronic components, whether it's for federal and even state applications like in the state of Florida.
Wow. So the LG does meet TAA compliance, you're saying?
They do, and that is one of the a big advantage that you can see.
Huge.
Yeah.
I know, for example, with some of the Chief products, some of the cables to go, we have a set amount of products that are TAA compliant, which makes it hugely advantageous when you are going into those federal government opportunities. But yeah, that is a game changer, because probably a vast majority of our competition are bringing in chipsets from Asia, which is what usually causes the issues with TAA compliance.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Chief too, because most DVLED manufacturers like LG, they realize that they're not mount experts. Who is a mount expert? Some of these third-party companies, and of course Chief falls right into there because they have certified products for not only LG's MAGNIT Series but also their ultra slim DVLED products too. Really makes things a lot simpler when you have a company, a manufacturer that specifically caters to mounting for, structural stability as well as even like ease of use and implementation. And of course, you and I both know that there's no such thing as a truly flat wall. I haven't yet to see one in the entire earth yet, but
you're driving right where I wanted to go, Eric. Thank you for bringing that up, because how important is it to people for pre-planning and site surveys and things like that? How important before somebody gets into the DVLED world? Because it's at a point where it's at the forefront. It's almost, it's not quite to the point where you can go to Walmart on Black Friday and buy one, but we're getting to that point, and there's probably a lot of, people that are new to the game trying to get in there. So how important is all the pre-work that goes with a direct view LED solution?
So that's important that you mentioned that. So planning is going to be everything, because this is not the typical product that you just throw a mount on the wall and then hang a display and plug it in. You're involving multiple trades in this type of application. So it's great to have the pre-planning is critical. So not only do you have the space for what you're looking for, but you also have to involve high voltage electricity. So you may need an electrician, or typically need an electrician to follow NEC code. You're going to need some, potentially even use HVAC, because sometimes in tighter rooms or applications, there is quite a bit of thermal dissipation that comes out from the DVLED products. And most of them, we help calculate what the BTUs are, the output of that thermal dissipation, to help you plan for the right temperature and climate control, not only to keep the product cool, but also anybody who's in that environment too, because there is going to be a heat that comes out from these products. But so now you have high voltage, you have HVAC, and then you want to put it on a wall. So you're going to need somebody who makes sure it's structurally sound. You're going to make sure that, because these products can be heavy and they consist of, cabinets and modules, and they can weigh several hundred pounds. So you want to make sure you do it right. One of the biggest things that I have seen and learned in my experience was proper planning for, before you put that mount up, make sure you're using recessed power outlets. So a lot of people just try to maybe fit one into, to the wall, and they realize that sometimes even the mount can cover up those electrical outlets. So using a recessed outlet is like one of my first tips for plan accordingly. This way you're not going to have to be stuck while you're going through the process of implementing, because even the simple all-in-ones will take several hours to actually complete once you're familiar with the process.
Right.
And a custom one, of course, would be even a little bit more. Yeah,
I know that that's one of the big features of the all-in-ones, is that they can, a couple guys can put them up in about 2 hours is usually the industry standard that people are talking about. I appreciate what you said about, LG not being a mount manufacturer, because literally every direct LED manufacturer does offer some kind of mounting solution with theirs. And I'm not here to talk nasty about anyone's solution, but LG makes great panels. They're a panel electronic company. They're not people that bend steel for a living. So that's one of the reasons that companies like Chief are out there as part of Legrand, because they do every day. They manufacture really great mounting solutions, and it's not just as simple as comparing it to something that you may find online or at a big box store, because those aren't really designed for an installer to go in. These products that Chief makes, they're made for the installer to go in that has to install 50 of them in a day and have to be able to move quickly and have a lot of post-leveling adjustments. And that's what I really want to talk to. I know LG offers an 8mm mount with their products, their direct LED, but that has very little Z adjustment, which the Chief Tiled Universal do have X, Y, and Z axis adjustment. How could that cause an issue with an install, especially on a larger wall, not having that Z adjustment?
Well, I'm really happy you brought that up, because that, of course, the X and Y adjustments are equally important. The Z adjustment is critical for depth, right? So when a wall is not perfect, you're going to want to make sure that you're able to accommodate that wall by being able to mount these things. Because remember, you're working with just millimeters here. Once you start putting the modules onto the cabinets and you're ready to start setting up the display, you're working with millimeters here. And if you're off by a few millimeters, you're going to see it. The result will definitely be visible. So with the Z adjustment, it's important that you use a manufacturer that's not only who specializes in bent metal, but also accommodates, Z adjustment so that the wall will come out perfect.
Excellent. I mean, just what I was looking for. Really, really kind of says it all. I mean, when you're going out there, you just want to make sure that you got a product that's going to work. It's going to be easier to install, and it's not going to break the bank, which we try not to do that as well. Also, Eric, anything else on LG that we that might be coming, that might be a surprise, or anything new on the horizon that we could talk about for a minute before we head out?
Yeah, there's a couple products coming out in 2025. Like I said, the finer pixel pitch ones are going to be important. I think you're going to see some prices also come down a bit on certain models as well, because that's just the evolution of our industry. I just think that they're really sitting right now at the forefront of some really nice projects that we've been working on. So I really wouldn't want to speculate on too much, because I always like to be surprised.
Well, I really do appreciate your time coming out, hanging out with me for a few minutes, answering some questions. Any parting thoughts here to our massive viewing audience, to the millions watching at home?
Oh, wow. That puts a lot of pressure on here,
There's
right?
a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure.
No, all I can say is when it comes to direct view LED, the main thing that I see LG doing and working really hard at is not only having the dedicated resources, but also demystifying this for the integrators, resellers, and dealers that are in the pro AV industry that we cater to. They're taking out a lot of the guesswork when it comes to not only, just like I said before earlier, with the all-in-ones being easier to order, but also easier to install and integrate into a space.
Right.
And that's what I find to be the evolution of this product is becoming, this is one of the biggest growth categories of the display market that we have. And it's important. And who's paying attention to it is LG's making sure that they have all the resources, the engineering, and are building fantastic products that are going to say, make it easier, demystify the whole application of it, as well as the purchasing and then completion to deployment.
Amazing. Well, Eric, thank you very much. If I don't speak to you again, have a great holiday with your family. Everyone out there, thank you very much for joining us. See you next time behind the panel.
Thank you, Patrick. Happy holidays.